Lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. I'm excited to bring you this episode today. Why? Is because I'm going to talk about GloBird. Now you may remember a month ago, I released a 3-part series regarding my experiences between moving from AGL to Amber and to then GloBird. And I signed up with GloBird about mid-April this year. And I released those videos about mid-May after going through my experiences with the shift between all different providers. So in this episode, I'm going to cover my experiences now that I'm well into 6 weeks or a month and a half of GloBird. I've gone through bills and I've gone through all this stuff. So I'm going to give you my experiences between, any good points or any bad points between them. And I hope you find them valuable, especially in the cost of living crisis that we're in now in Australia, where, rates keep going up and up and up. Anyway, I really hope you enjoy this episode. So before talking about GloBird, let me just give a full financial disclosure. I am not affiliated with GloBird whatsoever. I don't work for them. I have a full-time job doing another thing. It's got nothing to do with the electricity environment. It's got nothing to do with electrical providers or anything like that. I'm just here as a normal consumer just to share my experiences between the platforms. So with that out of the way. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll know I have a 12 kilowatt solar system. I have a 32 kilowatt hour home battery system. I have 2 EVs, BYD Atto 3, which contains a 60 kilowatt hour battery, a BYD Seal, which contains an 82 kilowatt hour battery, and I use Home Assistant for my home automation. So to give a quick summary, I'm going to go over quickly why I moved from AGL to Amber, and then why I moved from Amber to GloBird. I was with AGL for a very long time, well over 15 years. And, I thought it time to actually move once I got the home battery. So the first decision I made was to move to Amber Electric. Now, I heard some very, very good things about Amber, but, if you want to watch those videos on why I moved and things like that, I went into detail there. But generally speaking, Amber had no free charging window. So I really struggled to charge my EVs without paying money. I had to pay money when I really needed to charge the EVs. Amber has a popular thing where being wholesale pricing, they pass on the price spikes. But what I found with Amber and my time with Amber is that price spikes were very, very rare. And especially in my area, we've got grid stability. So like for me, it never happened. And I have been monitoring since then and it hasn't happened since. And the evenings were consistently expensive, not volatile in such a way that you'd get price spikes and things like that, but they were just steadily high. And there's nothing really I could do about that. I couldn't control it, obviously. So I had to make sure that the battery was consistently charged so I would avoid any peak demand window between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m., which is where the highest charge was for me. And of course, the service fees that Amber would show on their bill, that made up a large majority of the bill. Now, of course, they're a wholesale provider. They pass on the wholesale cost, but a lot of those fees, you sit there and you go, well, what in the world is this stuff? Essentially, other retail providers, they hide those fees. They don't show you those wholesale fees. But nevertheless, that made up a good chunk of the Amber bill. And, when I did the comparison between the 14 days with Amber and the 11 days with GloBird, you can see those things. I made the right decision by moving away from Amber for my particular case. And now let's talk about why GloBird caught my attention. Honestly, it was the practicality. I had joined some forums and many people had recommended GloBird at the time. I was with Amber at the time. When it didn't work out, I thought, okay, I'll give GloBird a shot. And the plan I signed up to was the ZeroHero plan. That suited me, I guess, better than the other plans that they offered. I mean, they do have the 4 for free and things like that, but the ZeroHero suited me better. What did the ZeroHero give me? Well, it gave me 3 hours of free electricity every single day. And at the time, there was no limit. So I could, I've got a 3-phase house, so I could draw easily 60 kilowatts during that 3-hour period. They also had no credit card surcharges. So in case a charge would ever need to be done, like if I'm not in a credit, of course I didn't know at the time I was always going to be in credit, but if a charge would ever need to be done on my credit card, no surcharges. And of course, this is uncommon for most retail providers. A lot of charges occur when you use a credit card for many retail providers. And they also had gas support. If you remember, even on Amber only supports electricity, and I had AGL still with my gas. I liked the fact that I could have one supplier having both my electricity and gas accounts on them, because any credits I would receive in the electricity bill can be put against my gas bill without any work of my own. It just happens. And the other thing that GloBird had was direct debit discounts up to 3%. So again, if a bill was going to occur, I would actually get a 3% discount setting up direct debit with them. So that's an advantage. I mean, I didn't know at the time I was constantly going to be in credit, but nevertheless, at the time of my decision, I liked that. And the billing was very simple and predictable. With my setup, I got a big home battery, 2 EVs, solar and automation. That free window is incredibly powerful for me. It let me shift almost all of my grid usage into the cost-free period. And during the time after the cost-free period, I would simply just run in self-consumption mode off the home battery. And, once I was able to determine how much I'd be using during the evening, overnight, and during the following morning, it was very easy for me to automate that through Home Assistant to basically set and forget it. So for all those reasons, GloBird really worked out for me and matched all the requirements that I was after from an electricity supplier. So let's now talk about my setup and how it interacts with GloBird on the ZeroHero plan. Now, I've got 12 kilowatt solar. Now, with 12 kilowatt solar, you got generation every single day, irrespective if your day is cloudy or not. Even on very overcast and rainy days, you're still generating something. So for me, on a typical cloudy day or a winter day, I'll generate typically 12 kilowatt to 14 kilowatt each day. On, of course, a very sunny day, that can go to 60 or 70 kilowatt plus, sometimes even more, depending on how much sun you can actually get. And of course, it doesn't have to be too hot, for the efficiency of the panels to work. It's better to be under 30 degrees for optimum efficiency for panels, but I'm not going to talk about that part. But in terms of solar generation, anywhere from, I would say, 12 kilowatts up to 60 or more kilowatts per day from the solar generation. Now, in terms of the battery, I've got a 32 kilowatt hour SiGenergy system that contains 4 8 kilowatt hour batteries. And what I would do with that battery system is every single day, I would charge it from whatever it was in base. I mean, sometimes it's 1%, sometimes 0%, sometimes 20%. It depends on in the morning, but I would charge it from whatever percentage it was. And within that 3-hour free period, it would always charge to 100%. And that allowed me to use the home battery in self-consumption mode after the 2 p.m. mark, all the way through the evening, the early morning, and the following day until the next 11 a.m. So you do have to manage, of course, your usage and, monitor it. But once, you've passed 2 to 3 days, you kind of get a feel of what your household uses at particular times, and it becomes easy to manage after that. One other thing I would say is GloBird does have a referral program. If you're joining GloBird, I'll have a link in the description below, which is my referral link. You'll get $50 credit into your account when you sign up. Of course, you don't have to, but why not? I mean, it's there. You might as well use it.